The friend who smiles at you today could be planning your downfall tomorrow. You think loyalty is about history. It's not. It's about utility, and the moment you stop being useful, the mask drops. Machiavelli didn't write about enemies. He wrote about allies who become enemies. Because the real danger isn't the person who hates you openly. It's the one sitting beside you, studying your weaknesses, waiting for the right moment to strike. You've been taught to value trust, to believe in friendship, to think that time spent together equals loyalty earned. That belief is what makes you vulnerable. Every person in your circle has access to your plans, your fears, your resources. And if you don't know how to identify who's real and who's performing, you're handing them the tools to destroy you. This isn't about paranoia. It's about pattern recognition, about understanding the psychology of betrayal before it happens. There's a reason Caesar fell to Brutus, not to a distant rival. Proximity is power, and fake friends weaponize it better than any declared enemy ever could. You're about to learn the Machiavellian rule that separates allies from parasites, the signs most people miss, the tests that reveal true intent, and the cold, calculated method for protecting yourself without burning everything down. Because respect isn't earned by being kind. It's earned by being unbreakable. 1. The invisible threat. The fake friend beside you. You think the enemy stands across from you. You're wrong. The real threat sits beside you, smiling, nodding, pretending loyalty while studying your weaknesses. Fake friends don't announce themselves. They blend into your circle, learn your patterns, memorize your fears. And when you're most vulnerable, they strike. Not with violence, with manipulation, with whispers, with calculated betrayal that looks like concern. The psychology behind this is simple. Proximity breeds trust, and trust creates blind spots. You stop questioning motives when someone shares your table. You lower your boundaries because they seem familiar. But familiarity is not loyalty. It's camouflage. I've watched people destroy themselves by confusing presence with support. They kept feeding intel to wolves dressed as allies. And when the betrayal came, they called it surprising. It wasn't. They just refused to see the pattern. The invisible threat operates in silence. No open conflict, no declared opposition, just slow erosion of your power while they position themselves as your confidant. They ask the right questions, not to help you but to map your vulnerabilities. They offer sympathy, not out of care but to extract information you wouldn't share with a stranger. Every conversation is a transaction, every gesture a calculated move. And you mistake their patience for friendship. That's the trap. Real enemies reveal themselves. Fake friends wait until revelation doesn't matter anymore. 2. The Machiavellian rule: watch what they seek, not what they say. Words are cheap. Anyone can perform loyalty with the right phrases. But behavior exposes motive. Machiavelli understood this centuries ago. If you want to know someone's true intent, ignore their declarations and watch what they pursue. Do they seek power over you or partnership with you? Do they position themselves to replace you or support you? The difference isn't subtle. It's just ignored by people who prefer comfort over truth. When someone repeatedly seeks access to your resources, your network, your influence, pay attention. Not to what they say they need it for, but to the pattern of extraction. Fake friends don't ask for help once. They create dependency loops. They need your time, your connections, your emotional labor, constantly. And when you pull back, suddenly you're the problem. Suddenly you're selfish. That's not friendship. That's manipulation disguised as need. Real allies contribute. Fake ones consume. I learned this the hard way in business. A partner who spoke endlessly about our vision spent 2 years quietly redirecting clients to his side projects. He never said he wanted control. He just maneuvered for it. Every meeting, every introduction, every shared resource, all funneled toward his agenda, not ours. By the time I noticed, the damage was structural. The lesson: words create illusion, actions reveal strategy. If someone's behavior consistently contradicts their language, believe the behavior. It's the only truth that survives scrutiny. 3. The difference between visible enemies and masked friends. Visible enemies are predictable. They oppose you openly, challenge you directly, make their hostility known. You can prepare for them. You can build defenses. You can strategize. But masked friends, they operate inside your perimeter. They know your schedule, your plans, your fears. They've earned your trust, so you don't watch them the way you watch declared threats. That's their advantage. That's their power. And that's why they're more dangerous than any enemy who stands in plain sight. The psychology of betrayal requires proximity. You can't sabotage someone from a distance. Not effectively. You need access. You need credibility. You need the target to believe you're on their side while you dismantle them from within. This isn't theory. It's pattern. History proves it. Brutus didn't kill Caesar from across the room. He stood close enough to strike because Caesar trusted him. The blade came from a friend, not a rival. That's not coincidence. That's strategy. Betrayal demands intimacy. Visible enemies force you to stay sharp. Masked friends make you comfortable. Comfort kills awareness. You stop scanning for threats when everyone around you seems aligned. You share too much. You delegate too freely. You assume loyalty because someone's been present long enough to feel permanent. But duration isn't proof of allegiance. It's just extended observation. The longer someone watches you without consequences, the more data they collect. The more data they have, the more precisely they can strike when the moment serves them. Open enemies teach you vigilance. Hidden ones exploit the fact that you forgot. 4. The 4 signs of a fake ally. First sign: they only appear when you have something to offer. Notice the pattern. When you're useful, they're present. When you're struggling, they vanish. Real allies show up in the void. Fake ones calculate cost versus benefit before every interaction. They don't ask how you're doing, they ask what you're working on. They don't offer help. They offer access to themselves in exchange for access to your resources. This isn't friendship. It's transactional proximity dressed as loyalty. Second sign: they undermine you in subtle ways, then frame it as concern. "I'm just worried about you" becomes their shield for planting doubt. They question your decisions in front of others. They highlight your mistakes while downplaying your wins. It's never direct enough to call out, but consistent enough to erode your credibility. This is psychological warfare. They weaken your position while maintaining plausible deniability. If you confront them, they act hurt. They twist your boundary into an attack. That's not defensiveness. That's manipulation designed to make you doubt your own perception. Third sign: they need constant reassurance but offer none in return. They demand your time, your validation, your emotional labor, endlessly. But when you need support, silence, excuses, deflection. The relationship only flows one direction. You give, they take, and somehow you're made to feel guilty for noticing the imbalance. Fourth sign: they celebrate your failures more than your successes. Watch their face when you announce good news. Listen to their tone. If there's hesitation, if there's subtle dismissal, if they pivot the conversation back to themselves, you're looking at envy, not support. Fake allies can't stomach your rise because it exposes their stagnation. 5. The approval trap. Why fake friends target the weak. Fake friends don't hunt the strong. They hunt people who need to be liked. People who fear rejection more than they value respect. People who mistake being agreeable with being valued. If you chase approval, you're advertising weakness. You're signaling that your boundaries are negotiable, that your resources are accessible, that your loyalty can be secured through shallow validation. That's blood in the water. Predators don't attack fortresses. They attack gates left open by people afraid of seeming cold. The approval trap is rooted in survival psychology. Humans evolved in tribes. Exclusion meant death. So we're wired to seek acceptance, to avoid conflict, to maintain social cohesion, even at personal cost. Fake friends exploit this wiring. They give you just enough validation to keep you compliant. A compliment here, a moment of attention there, and in return, you tolerate disrespect. You ignore red flags. You convince yourself that their inconsistency is just complexity, that their exploitation is just need. You trade your power for the illusion of belonging. I've seen this destroy careers. People who couldn't say no, couldn't set limits, couldn't risk being disliked. They became resource mines for opportunists, every favor extracted, every boundary ignored. And when they finally broke, when they finally pushed back, the fake friends didn't apologize. They left. Because the relationship was never about connection. It was about access. The moment you stop being useful, you stop being worth their time. That's not abandonment. That's revelation. They were never there for you. They were there for what you provided while you were desperate enough to provide it. 6. The Machiavellian method for identifying hidden enemies. You want to know who's real? Test them. Not with accusations, not with confrontation, with strategic silence. Stop offering information freely. Stop solving their problems. Stop being the first to reach out. Then watch what happens. Real allies will notice the shift and ask what's wrong. Fake ones will simply move to their next target. Absence reveals intent faster than any conversation. If someone only engages when they need something, their loyalty was never loyalty. It was transaction disguised as friendship. Machiavelli didn't trust words. He trusted behavior under pressure. So create controlled pressure. Share false information, something valuable but verifiable as false later. See who it reaches. If your secret gets repeated back to you through another source, you've identified the leak. This isn't paranoia. It's intelligence gathering. In war, in business, in relationships, you must know who carries your truth and who weaponizes it. The method is ancient. The principle is timeless. Feed different stories to different people. Track which version spreads. The source of the leak becomes obvious. Another test. Shift the power dynamic. Stop being the giver. Become the one who needs. Ask for favors. Request time. Seek help without offering immediate value in return. Real allies will give without scorekeeping. Fake ones will suddenly be unavailable. They'll have excuses. They'll reframe your ask as unreasonable. Because the relationship only worked when you were the resource, not the recipient. This is cold. This is calculated. But it's necessary. You can't protect yourself from enemies you refuse to identify. Sentiment is a luxury. Survival demands clarity. 7. Loyalty must be re-evaluated constantly. Loyalty isn't a fixed state. It's a variable influenced by circumstance, incentive, and consequence. The person who stood by you last year might betray you tomorrow if the conditions shift. Power changes allegiance. Opportunity corrupts commitment. Fear rewrites history. If you treat loyalty as permanent, you're operating on faith, not strategy. And faith is just another word for willful blindness. You don't preserve relationships by assuming they'll last. You preserve them by verifying they're still worth maintaining. People evolve. Priorities shift. What someone valued in you 6 months ago might be irrelevant now. They got what they needed, your network, your mentorship, your resources, and now they're looking elsewhere. This isn't malice. It's human nature. We align with those who serve our survival, our ambition, our psychology. When that alignment breaks, so does loyalty. The mistake isn't that people leave. The mistake is believing they won't. I've watched partnerships dissolve the moment one person outgrew the utility of the other. No warning, no conversation, just quiet distance and strategic repositioning. Reevaluation isn't cynicism, it's maintenance. You wouldn't drive a car for years without checking the brakes. Why would you trust relationships without testing their integrity? Ask yourself, does this person still act in alignment with my goals? Do they respect boundaries, or do they push until I collapse? Do they contribute or just consume? If the answers reveal decay, you adjust. Not emotionally, strategically. You pull back access, you limit information, you create distance without drama. Loyalty that requires constant sacrifice isn't loyalty, it's exploitation with better branding. 8. The boundary trigger. Why fake friends hate limits. Set a boundary with a real friend and they respect it. Set a boundary with a fake one and watch them unravel. Suddenly you're difficult. Suddenly you're cold. Suddenly you're the problem for refusing to be endlessly available. That reaction isn't hurt, it's exposure. Fake friends don't hate your boundaries because they care about you. They hate them because limits disrupt their access. And without access, they lose control. Without control, they lose utility. You just stopped being easy to manipulate, and that terrifies them. The psychology here is dominance masked as friendship. They position themselves as supportive, as understanding, as invested in your well-being. But the moment you assert autonomy, the mask cracks. They guilt you, they gaslight you. They reframe your reasonable limit as betrayal. I thought we were close. I've always been there for you. These aren't expressions of care. They're emotional leverage designed to pull you back into compliance. Real relationships survive boundaries. Fake ones collapse the second you stop sacrificing yourself to maintain them. I tested this once with someone who claimed to be a close ally. For months, they demanded my time at odd hours, expected immediate responses, criticized me for prioritizing other commitments. When I finally said no, calmly, clearly, without apology, they didn't ask why. They attacked, called me selfish, said I'd changed, painted themselves as the victim of my sudden coldness. That wasn't friendship ending, that was a parasite losing its host. Boundaries don't destroy real connections. They filter out the ones that were never real to begin with. 9. Case study: Julius Caesar and Brutus. The power of proximity. Caesar didn't fear distant rivals. He feared no one, really. That was his fatal flaw. Brutus sat at his table. Brutus walked beside him. Brutus had access to his trust, his schedule, his vulnerabilities. And when the conspiracy formed, Brutus didn't need force. He needed proximity. The blade that killed Caesar came from within arm's reach, because Caesar never imagined betrayal from someone that close. That's the lesson. Power makes you confident. Confidence makes you careless. And carelessness lets the enemy stand close enough to strike without warning. Brutus justified his betrayal with philosophy. He framed murder as patriotism, treachery as duty. That's how traitors operate. They don't see themselves as villains. They construct moral frameworks that make betrayal feel righteous. I did it for the Republic. I did it for the greater good. It's never about you. It's always about some abstract principle they've weaponized to justify self-interest. Caesar trusted Brutus because Brutus spoke the language of honor. But honor was just the cover story. Ambition was the motive. Proximity was the method. The real danger wasn't that Brutus hated Caesar. It's that Caesar loved Brutus. Emotional investment creates blind spots. You don't scrutinize people, you care about the way you scrutinize strangers. You assume their loyalty matches your affection. But loyalty isn't symmetrical. Just because you die for someone doesn't mean they wouldn't kill you if the incentive aligned. Caesar's mistake wasn't trusting too many people. It was trusting the wrong one too completely. The moment you stop questioning proximity, you've already lost. 10. The corporate Brutus, subtle sabotage at work. The modern Brutus doesn't carry a blade, he carries a smile and a spreadsheet. He sits in your meetings, nods at your ideas, volunteers to help with your projects. Then he takes credit for your work, redirects your wins to his portfolio, and positions himself as the leader while you do the execution. It's not dramatic, it's incremental. A comment here that undermines your authority. A conversation there that excludes you from key decisions. By the time you realize what's happening, he's already shifted the power structure. And you look paranoid for noticing. Corporate betrayal thrives on plausible deniability. The saboteur never attacks openly. He asks questions that plant doubt. Are we sure this approach is best? He frames your confidence as arrogance. I think we should consider other perspectives. He volunteers you for tasks that overextend you, then highlights your stress as poor performance. Every move is calculated to weaken your position without leaving evidence of malice. If you confront him, he acts confused, hurt even. I was just trying to help. That's not help, that's strategic erosion disguised as collaboration. I watched this unfold with a colleague who seemed genuinely supportive. He asked to shadow my client meetings to learn my process. Within 6 months, he was running those meetings without me. He didn't steal the relationships, he just made himself indispensable while making me look replaceable. He never said he wanted my role, he just maneuvered into it while I was busy trusting him. The corporate Brutus doesn't announce his ambition. He executes it quietly, consistently, until the day you're no longer necessary. And by then, pushing back just makes you look bitter. 11. The modern psychology of betrayal. How traitors self-justify. No one sees themselves as the villain. That's the problem. Betrayers don't wake up thinking they're traitors. They construct narratives that frame their actions as necessary, even noble. You were holding me back. You didn't appreciate me. I had to protect myself. They rewrite history to position you as the antagonist and themselves as the survivor. This isn't lying. It's cognitive dissonance management. The human brain can't tolerate being the bad guy, so it reshapes reality until betrayal looks like self-defense. That's how people sleep at night after destroying you. The psychology behind this is rooted in self-preservation. Guilt is expensive. Shame is unbearable. So the mind creates justification loops that convert treachery into righteousness. They exaggerate your flaws. They minimize your contributions. They highlight every moment you weren't perfect and use it as evidence that you deserved what happened. This is why confronting betrayers rarely works. You can't argue someone out of a story they need to believe. Their sanity depends on you being wrong. Your truth threatens their self-image. So they double down, twist facts, gaslight reality until you question your own memory. I've seen this in personal and professional contexts. Someone who benefited from my time, my resources, my trust, then turned around and painted me as toxic the moment I set a boundary. They didn't say they chose ambition over loyalty. They said I was controlling. They didn't admit they used me. They said I failed them. The narrative flipped entirely because accepting accountability would mean admitting they're capable of calculated harm. Most people can't carry that weight, so they don't. They transfer it to you and move forward unburdened. 12. Distanced control, the silent weapon against fake allies. You don't need to cut fake friends off dramatically. Drama creates noise. Noise invites retaliation. Instead, you create distance, slowly, deliberately, without explanation. You stop sharing plans. You stop asking for their input. You stop being available at their convenience. They'll notice eventually, but by then you've already repositioned. This is distanced control. You don't burn the bridge. You just stop walking across it. And from that distance you observe. You watch how they react to your absence. Real allies reach out with concern. Fake ones reach out with demands. The power in this strategy is invisibility. You're not declaring war. You're not issuing ultimatums. You're simply reallocating your resources, your time, your energy, your trust, away from people who've proven unreliable. There's no confrontation to defend against. No accusation to deny. Just a quiet withdrawal that speaks louder than any argument. If they press you for reasons, you stay vague. I've been busy. Things have been complicated. Never give them ammunition. Never reveal that you've identified their game. Let them wonder. Uncertainty weakens their position. I used this method with a business associate who'd been leaking information to competitors. I didn't accuse him. I didn't fire him. I just stopped including him in sensitive conversations. Stopped routing key clients through him. Stopped treating him as essential. He sensed the shift but couldn't prove anything. He asked if something was wrong. I said no, and I meant it. Nothing was wrong anymore, but because I'd neutralized the threat without creating an enemy. Distanced control lets you protect yourself without triggering the survival instincts of someone who might strike back if cornered. 13. The power of selective information. Information is currency. The more someone knows about you, the more leverage they have. Your plans, your fears, your weaknesses, every detail you share becomes a potential weapon if it lands in the wrong hands. Selective information isn't paranoia. It's strategic self-preservation. You don't lie. You just don't tell everyone everything. You compartmentalize. You give people access to what they need to know, nothing more. Real allies understand this. Fake ones resent it because it limits their ability to manipulate you. The principle is simple. Control the narrative by controlling the data. In intelligence work, this is called need-to-know protocol. You only brief people on information relevant to their role. The same applies to relationships. Does this person need to know your financial situation, your next career move, your personal struggles? If the answer is no, stay silent. If the answer is maybe, wait. Trust isn't built through transparency. It's built through consistency over time. And even then, discretion protects you from those who perform consistency while planning betrayal. I learned this after a supposed mentor used private conversations to undermine me publicly. I'd shared doubts about a project, frustrations with a team member, normal professional venting. He took those admissions and repositioned them as evidence of my incompetence in front of leadership. He framed it as concern. I'm worried about his judgment, but it was calculated sabotage using my own words. After that, I stopped sharing anything that could be weaponized. Not with him. Not with anyone I hadn't stress-tested over years. Selective information isn't cold, it's intelligent. You can't be betrayed by what you never revealed. 14. After betrayal. Turning the attack into intelligence. Betrayal hurts. That's expected. But pain is temporary. Intelligence is permanent. When someone betrays you, they've just revealed their operational pattern. How they think, how they move, what they prioritize when survival or ambition demands a choice. Don't waste time on emotion. Extract the data. Study the method. Understand the timing. Every betrayal is a lesson in human behavior if you're disciplined enough to analyze it instead of just feeling it. The person who burned you handed you a manual on how they operate. Use it. Ask yourself, what did they gain? What did they risk? Who else was involved? Betrayal rarely happens in isolation. There's usually a network, people who knew, people who enabled, people who will do the same to you if conditions align. Map the connections, identify the incentives, see the larger pattern. This isn't about revenge. Revenge is emotional, reactive, short-sighted. This is about strategic repositioning. You now know who can't be trusted, what tactics they use, and how they justify it. That's power. That's survival intelligence most people never acquire because they're too busy being wounded. I was betrayed by a business partner who walked away with clients we'd built together. It stung. But instead of retaliating, I studied the exit. How he positioned himself with those clients months before leaving. The language he used to build rapport independent of me. The timing of his departure, right after a major project, gave him credibility. Every detail became a blueprint. I adjusted my systems, strengthened contracts, diversified relationships. The next person who tried the same move hit walls I'd built from studying the first betrayal. Pain fades, patterns repeat. If you learn from the attack, you become harder to destroy. Topico 15. Redefining loyalty. Utility over emotion. Loyalty built on emotion is fragile. It collapses the moment feelings change. Loyalty built on utility endures because it's grounded in mutual benefit, not sentiment. This isn't cynical. It's realistic. People stay loyal when the relationship serves them. When it stops serving them, they leave. That's not betrayal. That's rationality. The mistake is expecting emotional loyalty to override self-interest. It won't. It never does. So stop building relationships on affection alone. Build them on alignment, on shared goals, on reciprocal value. When utility fades, so should the relationship. No drama, no resentment, just clarity. Machiavelli understood this. He didn't trust princes who swore eternal friendship. He trusted those whose survival depended on the alliance. Self-interest is predictable. Emotion is volatile. If someone benefits from your success, they'll protect it. If they benefit from your failure, they'll engineer it. The question isn't whether people are good or bad. It's whether their incentives align with yours. If they do, nurture the relationship. If they don't, distance yourself before misalignment becomes sabotage. This is how power sustains itself, not through trust, through strategic dependence. I stopped expecting loyalty from anyone whose life wouldn't improve by supporting me. That shift eliminated disappointment. It clarified who belonged in my circle and who was just passing through. A colleague who stayed because we shared clients, reliable. A friend who stayed because we shared history but no current alignment, unstable. Sentiment without utility is nostalgia. And nostalgia doesn't protect you when someone's survival requires your decline. Redefine loyalty as mutual advantage, and you'll stop being surprised when people act in their own interest. You'll just be prepared. Fake friends don't announce themselves. They embed, they wait, they strike when you're least prepared. Now you know the signs. Now you understand the psychology. Now you have the method. What you do with this knowledge determines whether you remain a target or become untouchable. But knowing how to identify enemies isn't enough. You need to understand how to make powerful people choose you over everyone else. How to position yourself so that betrayal becomes costly for them, not for you. That's where strategy shifts from defense to dominance. Watch the previous video, the 10 Machiavellian laws to make powerful people choose you. It's not optional if you want the full picture. Defense protects you. Offense positions you. Both are required. Write this in the comments. I see the pattern now, not as a confession, as a declaration. You've been given the tools. Use them, or stay blind and complain when the blade comes from someone you trusted. Power respects preparation. Weakness rewards denial. Choose accordingly.